Okay friends, it's time to get started on our job. One of the first things you want to do is safely raise and support the front of the vehicle with the suspension hanging so the wheel's off the ground. After that, we're going to move along to removing our center cover. If you were to feel along it, you're going to find an area that you can carefully get in between with a small pry bar. Once you have that cover off of there, continue on to removing all 5 of your 19mm lug nuts and then the wheel. Now that we have the wheel off, the next thing we're going to do is start removing the sway bar link from the area. Now you're going to find that you have a bolt that comes up through the center of this area here and makes its way all the way up to the top where it has an 18mm headed nut holding it in place. I'll use an 18mm wrench to hold that nut and a 16mm down along the bottom to go ahead and turn the entire bolt. So now we can take this apart. I already removed the nut. I'm going to go ahead and remove the top washer. We can remove the top bushing. And now you just want to go ahead and take something and drive this down and out of here. As you bring it down, you're going to be removing the bushing, the washer, this sleeve, and then the bushing and washer from the bottom as well. Just wiggle that bolt around on the bottom there. It's common for the bolt to be stuck inside the sleeve due to rust or something the like. So I'm just going to go ahead and hold the sleeve with some locking pliers. I'll use some penetrant to try to get inside the center, and then I'll just try to working this out. Almost there. You can tell that it's very rusted. There's the sleeve that goes over the top. Reach down here, I'll grab the washer and the bushing, pull those off of there. Now we can remove the rest of the sway bar link from the area. All right, so let's go ahead and start putting in our sway bar link. I'm going to leave it so I have the entire long bolt. I also have one of my washers with the concave area facing upward towards this bushing. I'll slide the bushing down and you can see that I have the little nub sticking up. That nub is going to be fitting up against the bottom of the control arm. I'll go ahead and slide this up a little bit. Now I'm going to continue on to another one of my rubber bushings. We're going to put it so the little nub is facing towards the control arm. Now we'll take one of our washers, you know which way it's going to go, so the concave area is facing towards the bushing itself. Now let's move along to our large spacer. Another washer, that one's going to be facing with the concave area facing towards where the bushing will be. Bushing with the nub facing up towards where the sway bar is going to be. Now at this point, we're going to have to go ahead and try to move this sway bar up a little bit so we can slide this under. If you are doing these as a pair, you can just go ahead and go over to the other side of the vehicle and release that side as well, and that'll make it so you can bring this up and down. To lift this sway bar, I'll just stick a pry bar underneath the sway bar and up against the frame. At this point, I'm going to gently pry. While I'm doing this, I want to be extremely careful in case it slips so I don't hurt myself. Time for another rubber bushing. Put it so the nub's facing towards the sway bar. Your concave washer facing down. And your locking nut. Now it's going to be time to go ahead and tighten up our sway bar link. Let's use a 16mm down along the bottom here and a 16mm up along the top. Now when you're tightening your sway bar link, you only want to tighten it until the point that you can see that your bushings are touching up against either the sway bar itself or even against the control arm. Essentially the areas that it's supposed to touch against, it's supposed to touch, but it's not necessarily supposed to be squished down flat like a pancake. As you can tell, this is touching everywhere it needs to be. At this point, you'd want to go ahead and do the same on the other side of the vehicle. Now let's go ahead and put the wheel back up on here. We'll start on all 5 of our 19mm lug nuts. Bottom them out, get the wheel safely back on the ground, and then torque each of them to 100 foot-pounds. We've got the wheel back on the ground. Let's torque these in a crisscross manner. Torqued. Of course, if you have a center cover, go ahead and put that on now. Looking at the back of it, you're going to find you have one area that protrudes looking like this. That needs to fit into any of your lug nut holes. Okay friends, we got our sway bar link installed in the vehicle. Whenever you do a sway bar link, you do them as a pair. We showed you how to do one on the front, do the exact same thing on the other side of the vehicle. Aside from that, take it for a road test, make sure you don't hear any funny noises. Thanks for watching.